Hi, and welcome back to the Business Career College video series. Again, this is Jason Watt, and in this video, we're going to talk about workers' compensation benefits. Now, this is a provincial plan, and it does vary from province to province. In fact, in most provinces, we're used to a workers' compensation board, but those of you in Ontario, of course, are used to the Workplace Safety Insurance Board, WSIB. And workers' compensation is a no-fault plan and a non-contributory plan. So the idea with workers' compensation is that if an employee gets hurt at work and can't earn an income as a result, they don't have to sue their employer for their lost wages. The employer has paid into workers' compensation, and now the employee has access to a ready pool of benefits in order to replace that lost income, and workers' compensation provides some other benefits as well. So a no-fault plan, non-contributory in nature. Employers pay premiums, but employees do not. So we'll never have an employee premium to workers' compensation. Now, self-employed people sometimes have to pay into workers' comp, and that's a secondary issue. So what has to happen here? Well, you have to have an injury that is attributable to work. And it does vary a little bit from province to province what would be a valid claim and what would not. But generally, we're looking at something that happened while you're on the job, doing the job you're supposed to be doing in the hours that you're supposed to be doing it. You're not covered when you're doing work outside of your normal job, unless you have coverage for that other work. You're not covered when you are, say, commuting to and from work in most cases. So it has to be directly attributable to work. It could be an injury or it could be an illness, although illness claims for workers' compensation are relatively rare. So this benefit, this workers' compensation benefit, is going to provide a fairly generous income replacement. It's going to replace, in most cases, 90% of your after-tax income. Now there is a maximum here. It's a maximum of around $6,000 a month. It varies again from province to province, but somewhere in that vicinity. So it works well for somebody earning up to about $90,000 or $100,000, but after that, workers' compensation starts to lose its effectiveness. Not everybody is necessarily covered by workers' compensation. There are three classes of industry. There are exempt industries. Banking and insurance are two good examples of industries that are exempt from workers' comp. There are optional industries. A lot of not-for-profits fall into an optional category. And then mandatory. So most trades and blue-collar type of occupations have mandatory workers' compensation coverage. The benefit, when the benefit is paid, it's tax-free. And it's a one-day wait or next-day coverage, one-day wait to collect workers' compensation benefits. It can pay benefits as long as age 65, but it generally doesn't. Workers' compensation will end up having lump sum payments where somebody looks to be disabled for a long time. They do have rehabilitation benefits and retraining benefits. In some cases, they will even retrain a spouse, for example, to have the spouse go back to work if the person who was injured at work is not ever able to return to work. Workers' compensation can pay death benefits for somebody who's killed on the job. Death benefits are normally equal to 2 years of lost income. So lots of different odds and ends with workers' compensation, and again, lots of provincial variation. One of the things you should be aware of, and probably most people who spend some time in the workforce are aware of this, is that it can be not necessarily hard to claim, but workers' comp is pretty aggressive in a lot of cases about getting people off of claims. So they're going to have, I would suggest, fairly aggressive rehab and return to work policies. That is, they're trying to maintain a program here that's essentially publicly funded or funded by all of these mandatory contributions from all these employers, they can't be in the business of paying out claims when it's not necessary. So they do tend to have fairly aggressive stances on getting people back to work. So that's workers' compensation. There's a lot more that you could learn about workers' compensation, but for most financial services exams, that should be sufficient. Levels of premiums vary from employer to employer, so even knowing premium rates and so forth is not practical. I hope that helps. I hope you enjoy your ongoing studies. Thank you very kindly.